With Epic Universe reviving theme park fever across the country, and Disney on the rebound with a plethora of new and rethemed attractions, our attention is drawn to the third major player in the Orlando theme park space, SeaWorld Orlando. SeaWorld Orlando operates 3 properties all within the Orlando theme park bubble, and one might ask if they are doing enough to truly compete with their competitors down the road. Where exactly does this park stand in the theme park hierarchy? Because after careful consideration, we can start to see that it doesn't really fit in. In this video, we are going to look at the park's investment strategy to see exactly where the parent company envisions them in the future. And honestly, it's pretty big, so stay tuned. SeaWorld Orlando receives around 5 million guests per year. This does tend to fluctuate, but it does hover around the 4.5 to 5.2 range. To put this in perspective, Islands of Adventure is almost double that at around 10 million guests per operating season. However, out of any Universal or Disney park, SeaWorld Orlando receives the next highest amount of guests per year. To say that this park is a successful one is an understatement. However, many have a hard time comparing it to Disney and Universal, and that would be right because the quality just isn't there. There is indeed a distinct difference between the level of immersion between a SeaWorld park and a Disney and Universal park. With higher attendance comes higher revenue, which in turn creates higher budget attractions. One might feel like trying to compare SeaWorld Orlando to Islands of Adventure is like comparing apples to oranges, and that would be correct. They are 2 different parks that serve a different demographic. But where exactly does SeaWorld fit in? And this is where it starts to get interesting. In the theme park / amusement park space, we can see various degrees of quality. Universal and Disney parks are obviously at the top of the pyramid, with them being massive destinations with superior quality. These parks tend to draw families and multi-day vacationers as their clientele. At the very bottom of this fictional hierarchy is your run-of-the-mill Six Flags park, whose clientele typically only spend 1 day at the park. These parks are more focused on the attractions rather than the theming and overall appearance of the park. A park like this would rather have a lot of not amazing attractions than one highly themed attraction, and that's the overall mindset of some of these Six Flags parks. In the interest of being super nerdy as I am, I've created 5 categories which can help us define the US theme park and amusement park market. On the top of the pyramid, we have the Global Destination Resort Park, which includes Disney and Universal. Underneath that is Regional Destination Resort Parks, which would include Dollywood and Silver Dollar City. Underneath that would be regional multi-day theme parks, should I add, which would include your Busch Gardens and SeaWorld Orlando. Underneath them would be your large destination amusement parks, and underneath there would be your low investment parks. These are parks that don't get a lot of love. One thing that you'll notice is that I'm drawing a distinction between a theme park and an amusement park, simply because the clientele and overall experience is truly different between these two. Usually theme parks value theming and presentation significantly more than amusement parks do. Now, where each individual park ranks on this little chart is honestly up for debate, but the general idea is the further you move up the pyramid, the broader the clientele is, the more people the park can attract. Disney attracts everyone. Whether you're 8 or 80, you're going to have a fantastic time at the park because honestly the rides are just accessible. They do have thrill coasters such as Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, but they also have your classic attractions like Peter Pan. And the lower you go down the pyramid, the more niche honestly it is. There's a certain type of person that will go to a theme park just for a day just to ride some coasters. And honestly, it's not as big of a demographic as families. But since today's video is about SeaWorld Orlando, let's talk about where exactly that fits, because it's kinda hard to pinpoint where it is. It's obviously no Disney or Universal, but I would argue that it's not even comparable to Silver Dollar City or Dollywood yet because it's lacking that overall resort feel. I think this is the goal for this park, is to move from the category they're in now into the Regional Destination Resort Park, to honestly get into that level. And I think they're taking steps to do that. So that is the premise of this video, for SeaWorld Orlando to jump into that Regional Destination Resort Park. So within that name, Regional Destination Resort Park, which is a giant tongue twister to say the least, what are they missing? Well, a resort. I think SeaWorld Orlando is 100% going to build a hotel and a resort, a full-on resort to be similar to Disney and Universal. Because when you think of Disney, you can spend 4 or 5 days on Disney property without ever leaving. Now, do I ever think SeaWorld will reach this level? Probably not, but they are taking steps to get at least some of that. So the logical next step for SeaWorld Orlando to start the climb to that regional destination resort level is to not only add a hotel but a full resort. And they are not only adding one, but most likely two. The current plans for SeaWorld Orlando is to attach a full multi-story 500 guest room to SeaWorld Orlando, right near the Infinity Falls area. This would also feature a new dedicated resort-only park entrance. On top of this, they are also planning on adding a 250-room resort near Discovery Cove. This is all scheduled to be completed by 2026 or 2027, so that means we should be seeing signs of construction relatively soon. The parent company of SeaWorld Orlando has stated that they are looking into adding resorts at any park which can sustain it, and obviously SeaWorld Orlando would fit that bill. Other parks would probably be Busch Gardens Williamsburg and maybe Busch Gardens Tampa, but that one is a little bit dicey. One thing that we don't know yet is if SeaWorld will operate the parks themselves or if they will outsource it to another company to do the operations and then just take a share of the revenue. Either one of these scenarios could be very good. If the company does end up outsourcing the operation of these hotels to an external company, it could mean that the quality of these hotels will go through the roof. They're likely going to partner with a company that does a very, very good job, and it's just going to be a fantastic experience. If they run the hotels themselves, it could also be a fantastic experience. We have to remember that SeaWorld operates Discovery Cove, which is basically a luxury all-inclusive, so they are experienced in really good hospitality. This resort will definitely take the park to the next level. I honestly believe it's going to be a very good thing, because now guests are more incentivized to spend multiple days at the park because of a hotel that is literally connected. If you take a look at their recent investments into SeaWorld Orlando, you can start to see a pattern of heavy investments. First we got Icebreaker, then Pipeline, then Penguin Trek, and now in 2025, a first in the US flying theater by Mach Rides. This flying theater is going to have high capacity, as while one side is loading, the other side is going through the quote-unquote layout while staring at the screen. The flying theater looks very, very good. It's definitely going to be a quality attraction. Most of the information besides the ride technology is kind of being kept under wraps right now, but we know that it's going to have an Arctic theme. The number one criticism of SeaWorld Orlando was that they lacked indoor attractions. Florida gets hot, and I'm sure that's no secret, so while they have a good amount of water attractions, they're really missing that standout indoor attraction. Now, they used to have different indoor attractions. They used to have their Wild Arctic and Empire of the Penguin, but both of these now are even better. They spent 1 year redoing one, and the next year redoing another one. So we can see a pattern of constant improvement. The park is truly striving to get to that next level. So what other area can SeaWorld improve in order to really bring them to the next level? Well, what does Disney, Universal, Dollywood, and Silver Dollar City all have that SeaWorld Orlando really doesn't? Well, that's great food. Recently I went to Silver Dollar City for the first time and I was blown away of just how good the food actually was. Nothing about that felt like typical theme park food. And I hate to say it, but when I go to SeaWorld Orlando, I do honestly feel the typical theme park food vibe. And I definitely think that they can fix that. So we've highlighted some things that I believe SeaWorld Orlando should do in order to set themselves up for success in the next coming years. And the next couple of years is going to be very important for this park, because what's happening next year? Well, Epic Universe is opening. And you can see that this aligns perfectly with their resort strategy. Epic Universe is opening next year in May. And that means Orlando is going to receive an influx of tourists this year, next year, and the year after. People are going to want to travel from all over to see Epic Universe. SeaWorld is going to want to capitalize on this. They're going to want to draw as many rich tourists who go to visit Epic Universe and Disney to their park. I mean, this is already some of their business model. Yes, they get people from the Tampa area like me who travel up there for the day, but they also rely on people who just want to visit all of the Orlando attractions. So they're going to want to increase the quality of their park and get it to be as close to Disney and Universal as realistically possible. And I believe that level is that Silver Dollar City, Dollywood level of quality. Now, I could talk for hours about the little subtle improvements that the park should make. However, they are definitely headed in the right direction. If you visited the park recently, you'll notice that it is a lot nicer than it was just 3 years ago. The one final thing that I want to mention is that I think the park needs more flat rides and another dark ride. The Flying Theater is a step in the right direction. It is going to be very good, but having another indoor attraction would be fantastic for the park, and not to mention another thrilling flat ride would be spectacular. So those are my thoughts on SeaWorld's not so secret investment plan. They are indeed adding 2 resorts coming in the future. They are going to continue to improve their attraction offerings, and they're going to keep pumping money into this park. I think out of all of the United Parks properties, this one is going to continue to receive the most investment over the next couple of years. I do see them slowing down in terms of SeaWorld San Diego and SeaWorld San Antonio, but this park is going to continue receiving a lot, and that's simply because of the competitive nature of the Orlando theme park bubble. So thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate every single one of y'all. If you have thoughts about SeaWorld's investment plan, please leave it in the comments below. I read every single comment. You guys rock. This is the Kosher Josh signing out.